This is a follow-up to code 1 that described the buildup of the implementation. So at this point we need to write how we are going to order the string, and we will do this by using the if-else statement. Please review chapter 5 of your textbook and the PowerPoint to learn more about the basics of if statement and how to build an expression. But and also review the video that talks about the design. The last slide of that video is the steps we need to follow here. And basically what we aim to do is we're trying to write some instructions so that the program figures out if which of S1, S2, and S3 is the smallest, the largest, and the middle one. And to do this, we'll start by making some assumptions and use if-else statement to compare the strings and figure out which of the assumptions that we have is correct. So let's start with the smallest. So the first step is to assume S1 is the smallest. So we say that smallest equal S1. The second step is to check if S2 is smaller. So we say if, and then we want to compare S2 with the smallest. So we say if S2 dot, and to compare two strings we need to look for a method or an action in the string class that that can allow us to do that comparison. So we say compare, and the method is called the compare to, and there is compare to ignore case. We don't want to ignore the case in this case. So we want to say we want to compare S2 to the smallest. And if S2 compare to the smallest, if that is less than 0, meaning that S2 is less than the smallest, if S2 is less than the smallest, then what we want to do is to say that the smallest is S2. Since S2 we found is the smallest, is smaller than what is currently in the smallest, then we say, okay, now S2 is the smallest. But if it is not, then we ignore that. Then the next step is to check if S3 is smaller. So we say if S3 dot compare to smallest, if that is true, then we say smallest equal S3. So what if this is not true? If it is not true, meaning that S2 or S3 is equal to the smallest, or that it is larger than the smallest. If that is the case, then number one, it is not the smallest. Number two, we'll figure it out as we decide on the largest. So how do we go about the largest? So we follow the same steps. After these three lines, by the way, the smallest variable will have either S1, if it is the smallest, if these two conditions were false, we'll have S2 in case this condition was true but this one is false, or it will have S3 in case this condition was false and this one was true. So to do the same for the largest, we can group something in here, or we can stay here and say assume S1 is the largest. So we say largest equal S1. And we're going to follow the same thing, but instead of looking for the comparison to be less than 0, we're looking for the comparison to be larger than 0. So if we say that S2 dot compare to, and this is the largest, we're comparing with the largest, if that comparison is greater than 0, this means that S2 is larger than largest. So we say largest equal S2. And I forgot the comment here. Check if S2 is larger. and also check if S3 I'm sorry check if S3 is large. So we say f S3 dot compare to largest greater or equal 0, then we say largest equal S3. So after these three lines, the variable largest will have either S1 or S2 or S3. So now these lines have enabled us to identify and to make decision and to figure out which of S1, S2, S3 is the smallest, the largest, or the largest. What is left is to figure out which one is the middle. And the middle will depend on where is the comparison of S1 and S2. So if S1 is not the largest or the smallest, it means it should be the middle. If S2 is neither the largest nor the smallest, it means it should be the middle. If neither of those is correct, then it means that S3 is the middle. So we want to compare what's in the smallest and what is in largest and compare those with each one of S1 and S2 to understand if one of them is there or if it should be the middle. So we check if S1 is not the smallest nor the largest, then it should be the middle. So we say if, and we're gonna make a comparison here, so we're gonna say that if S1 dot compare to the smallest, if we compare S1 with the smallest and that comparison is 0, it means that S1 is the smallest. However, this is not what we're looking for. We're looking for S1 not being the smallest. So we use the not operator here to say that if it is not S1 equal to the smallest, or, and we use the or operator, or if it is not that S1 compared to largest equal 0, if this is also is the case, then we say that middle equal S1. So let's take a look at this. So we're saying that the smallest and S1 is the same. That's what equal to 0. When you make the compare to and it is 0, it means that smallest and S1 is equal. So this will give you true. But we don't want that. We want the opposite of that. So if that is false, then we want to come here. Or if it is not S1 compared to largest equals 0, meaning that the same thing. And so if S1 is middle, meaning that this one will be false, this one will be false, both of them will be false, then you're going to come here into the true, and we'll continue this in the next video.